So the Cape Coast Castle is in the heart of the central region, Cape Coast, and it's surrounded by very beautiful beaches. And it takes around 2 to 3 hours from Accra to get to the Cape Coast Castle. It's a very beautiful place to visit. Depends if you're looking at the beaches, but for historical reasons, it's quite a sensitive place to visit. But it's also a must know for anybody who has lost touch with their history. The Cape Coast Castle is a historic site within the city of Cape Coast, and the city itself is a charming blend of old and new, with colonial era buildings standing side by side with modern structures. So let's listen to what our tour guide has to say.
Door of no return. Let me give a short history about this very slave castle. In the history of the Portuguese, the Portuguese, they were the first Europeans to come to our shores. In the 1400s, the Portuguese started exploring the coast of West Africa, looking for gold. And around 1471, the Portuguese arrived on the shores of Ghana.
And we all know what happened after that. To fill in from what he said, they initially came to start trade where they started with gold trade and trading goods, and then later evolved to slave trade. So it's not like they just started slave trade. No, they came with the intention of trading, and then later evolved to something much more valuable than gold, which was slaves. We first went to the school. I think it's a school or a children's school or a children's church. I forgot it. But the first place we went to was built by the Portuguese. And just below that, we had the dungeons where slaves were kept. So it's kind of ironic and weird. So now we are sitting inside the room where they actually sold slaves. So this was where traders would come and present their slaves for auction.
The traders were using the guns, textiles, and other European commodities exchange. That is what they give to the slave traders, and in exchange, they get the captives.
So to touch on what you were saying, slave traders would actually be trading guns for slaves. And from there, we visited one of the cells of the men.
And then put it here, the male cell. There were 3 gates or doors fixed at the entrance to the cell. So when a captive is put in here, all 3 doors are closed. No food, no water, and no air. He stays until he dies. The idea to kill the captive, but to kill him slowly and painfully, to use him set an example to the others in the dungeons. So the freedom fighters, they were killed in here, the condemned. So we've been here for barely a minute, but you can feel the place is humid, warm. So you can imagine being here for years. English church established as such. While the captives were down there, the British in the castle worshipped and practiced the faith.
Yeah, so sorry, I guess he pointed it out. It was an English church, and that was where people were worshipping while slaves were down below in the dungeons. And that was where we are heading to. So down below, we were heading to where the slaves were kept in groups. We also need to remember that where the slave raiders didn't necessarily need to be white. Some of them were African, and they got slaves all over from West Africa, from Benin, from Mali, also from Burkina Faso. So it wasn't just in Ghana.
And behind this wall, behind this, is an underground tunnel. A tunnel built to connect this chamber to the sea, about 70 to 80 meters long. Now the British, the castle, they were using the tunnel as a passage. During the slave trade, when the slave ships come to the beach, the men held the dungeon. They were not moved or taken out through the main door of the beach. The soldiers rather walk or move the men through the tunnel in chains or shackles all the way to the beach, where they are forced into boats. The boats take them to the ships before they are trafficked to the Americas, the Caribbean, never to return home to their mother.
So after this, we headed to the passageways to see how they came out, and then just little about fishing.
If something bad might happen. And Tuesdays are also the days the fishermen get to take a day off.
And then to the door of no return.
Return home to their mother.
So this was supposed to symbolize the fact that once you go through the storm, there's no coming back home.
Child labor. Hold on. We cannot change or reverse what happened in the diamonds, what happened in the ships, on the plantation farm. We should not forget. But we have to learn from all this. The message from this place to you all is that let us do our best. Let's fight against modern slavery in all forms. Anywhere in the world. Let's try our best and make the world a better and a safer place. Not only for us and the kids, but also for the unborn generations.
I think he did a very good job with the conclusion, and we are glad you made it through with us. And we hope you get your time to visit here one day.